Hey, chums, welcome back to a Game with Chums podcast. I am your host for this episode, the glorious, magnificent Paul or Paulus or Almighty One. And so today, with me, as always, is my ever reliable and factual and articulate Mr. Rawls. Mr. Rawls, how are you? How you been? What have you been doing with your life? Because we missed out last last week's podcast, so we're a bit behind. But so how the devil have you been, man? What have you been up to in that time off?
We did indeed miss last week because you were out on the piss, having it
I was
large.
I was very drunk last weekend. I went out. I'll get round to it, but yeah, I was inebriated. But yeah, what about
Sauced
yourself?
up.
What were you inebriated? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? Who you've been doing? What you've been seeing? Have you been saving the world? Have you been putting rights to wrong? Just tell me, man. Just tell me, please.
I've not been inebriated because I'm still
Oh,
not really going out because there's a whole new variant of coronavirus now trying to kill us all. So
oh yeah. So
I'm not going
I,
anywhere
I
at the
was I was
time being.
I was laughing at that because the name of it, Omicron. I was like, it sounds like a transformer. That's what first popped into my head. I was like, Omicron, isn't that a transformer? So I'm pretty sure that's
It
a
sounds quite sinister, doesn't it?
yeah. They've given they keep giving these new variants like name. They used to call the variant where it was discovered in what country, but then people said it was racist. So now they got to give them sort of like transformer sounding sounding names.
They're just working their way through the Greek alphabet, so I'd imagine we'll move on to some other alphabet
mm,
eventually. But
mm-hmm,
yeah, I haven't really been going anywhere because of that. I mean, I've had my booster. I'm triple jabbed, and I was starting to feel quite confident about going out and stuff.
mm,
And then this happened, so it's a bit of a bummer, I guess.
mm,
But yeah, not been up to much. Just staying in, playing video games. Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker is in early access, so
yep.
I've been playing a little bit of that. When I can get through the queues of 3,000 people to actually get into the game,
Mm-hmm.
which takes like 2 odd hours just a queue to get in. So I haven't played as much of it as I would have liked because I spent a lot of time just queuing. But I'll play a little bit of that. Very much looking forward to it. Playing some of the Halo Infinite MP, which is still great fun. Um, Playing Yakuza 3, mostly through xCloud actually, which I'll mention a bit more about that in a little while because that kind of ties into one of the news stories we want to talk about. And started watching Arcane, the League of Legends animated show. Watched about 3 episodes of that. It is actually very good. I know nothing about
Mm,
League of Legends, never played it, never really given it any interest. I
mm-hmm,
know ex-chum Dan used to play it quite a lot. He was pretty much addicted for a little while.
mm,
I've never really paid it any attention, so I'm going in completely blind. And yeah, it's good. It's good fun. It looks amazing. It's really well animated.
mm,
And that's about it for me. Hiding
mm,
indoors,
mm.
consuming entertainment.
Oh well,
What about you?
that sounds pretty good. Um, me, well, I haven't been hiding indoors. I have been out and about. As Mr. Ross mentioned, it was inebriated. It was the as an annual pub crawl, which I don't organize it. I just get invited. And I obviously last year we couldn't do it because it was all locked down. But it's normally organized by my brother and my brother-in-law, his friends. So they're all a lot of older guys, old school sort of gents, and something out of a Guy Ritchie movie. You know what I mean? So there's all those chaps, and I did have like a piece of paper, like we get given a piece of paper with all the list of the pubs and what order. I wish I kept it because I could have showed everyone. But
So more
yeah,
organized than it sounds.
yeah. I mean, like there's 25 pubs on that list. That's a lot of pubs. We start at 11 and we finish probably about 9 o'clock. When I say finish, we get to the last pub about 9ish. You have like a little break in the middle where you get to eat, but that still involves drinking. Funny enough. But yeah, we started off in one pub. We had you start having you have a full pint, and then you go to you have halves afterwards because you can't have 25 full pints. You'll just be legless.
Not to mention pissing yourself for the rest of the
Yeah,
night.
I mean, like how it works is you put each of you put £20 in, so it's like a whip. For people who don't know what that is, it's like a expression we use here in. I don't know if it's used anywhere everywhere in the UK, but in London, it's just like a whip around. I mean, like just put money in, sort of go through that, and yeah, it was good, man. And then the next day, I went and watched the football at a pub in Bromley because I stayed over. So I was drinking more, lots of
Topping up
beer,
your levels.
topping up. So that's why the podcast was missed. And we do know there's listeners, obviously, like on YouTube and on Spotify. We do have people who no one's sent any angry threats yet, and which I'm kind of annoyed with because I kind of want people to be more passionate about it. Send me threatening DMs, but
Don't send threats.
don't send threats. Apart from that, I went out again last night, so I've been out. I I had a date and then went out then. My gaming has suffered. Obviously, I didn't stream last week. Actually, I did. Yeah, I did before I went. No, did I? No, I didn't. No, I streamed on. No, I streamed on because it was. I have the American holidays off, so it was Thanksgiving, so I was off, and I did stream. I streamed what's that game? Apex Legends. I'm playing ranked now.
What's that game I've played hundreds of hours of? Yeah. I can't remember the name.
I started to do ranked. I never done that before. So you basically like you get XP and you rank up. So I'm at the moment I'm on silver. But once you hit silver, if you do badly, you start to get minus. So you could go back. I could go back down to bronze because I've been playing pretty bad. So that's a bit of adds more extra stress on there. So which I'm not too like into because I'm like, why am I stressing? Why don't I just play normal? It's just the same game, but you're not playing ranked and you don't lose XP, you don't lose points and go back down.
Yeah.
So
I haven't touched ranked in Halo Infinite yet because I think I'm just kind of over that. I played ranked in Halo 5 for like 4 years, and it was all I played for 4 years. And then the last couple of years of the game, I just thought, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
because it's just too sweaty. And I did the same in Overwatch as well. For about a year, I played that ranked, and it's fun, but it's also there's an added layer of stress that you don't have when you're just playing like more casually.
Yeah.
And these days, I'm just like, I just want to jump in and have fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry about ranks.
So I'm kind of thinking I sort of started and this rank. There's only 19. Well, there should be 17 days left of that particular. Like you have to rank up within those days. So I'm thinking I might just do it for that 17 days, and then after that's done, when they refresh, just play normals. Yeah, so I've been doing that, and what else have I been doing? Oh yeah, I've been also watching shows when I have the time, because obviously getting closer to Christmas, your time just seems like you've got so much things coming up. Obviously, we have our end of year Christmas meet up where we go to a restaurant,
which again we didn't do last year, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and then we have food, drinks. It's going to be good, man. I can't wait. Exchange gifts,
presents,
exchange handshakes, and yeah, maybe like
thoughtful nods.
Yeah, nods, and we share many cold drinks and have discussions about the state of the world. But yeah, I've been watching. I watched Hawkeye, the new Disney Plus show. It's Hawkeye, the least glamorous member of the Avengers. But yeah, the show's good, man. I mean, like apart from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I thought is the weakest of these Disney originals Marvel series. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's more grounded, if you can say, about Marvel. It's because obviously Hawkeye has no particular special powers. He's just really good with the bow and arrows. So I quite like that, and it's good so far, man. I haven't watched the current episode, but there's talk of the Kingpin from from Daredevil being in it, which will be good because Daredevil's gonna make an appearance in. I think it's going to be in a new Spider-Man movie, which is coming out. I can't wait for that. That's going to be good. But yeah, man. So yeah, it's just the festive period, which is my favorite period in throughout
It's the
the
most
year.
wonderful time of the year.
I like it. It's just like everyone's a bit more friendlier, happier. Do you know what I mean? You get to drink, eat, and it's just a more like that vibe you get. Which some people like Halloween. I'm like, oh, that's not my favorite time of the year. I know some people really enjoy it. I'm just like, oh. That's kind of my thing anyway, man. I wear dark clothes. I like horror. We like horror films and stuff like that. And we kind of, so I'm just like, I don't really like see the big appeal, but some people really like
It's
it.
Halloween all year. It's not a big deal.
It's like, yeah, like not to sound gothy or anything, but that's kind of off what we remember back in our early 20s and stuff. We were like proper into all the horror and shit. So yeah, but that's me, man. I've been rambling for a bit because obviously it's been 2 weeks. You know, we haven't put a podcast, so things have been happening, man. You know, like with our the channel and everything. We had the Final Fantasy pop quiz, which was a departure for us. It's like I said, we're doing less, probably no full let's plays anymore. It's just we're trying different sort of formats for our channel because the let's plays are not worth doing anymore because no one really watches them, and it's a bit except for our let's co-op, which is because we're obviously co-oping, which is I quite like, but standalone, like our own let's plays, we probably won't be doing, man. So we've got to be more creative with our ideas now. We actually got to think and not just rely on video games, which we still play games,
think
but
about,
we still play games. I've been doing
think about what we're making videos of.
Yeah, man. I do I've started doing reaction videos, which is everyone does it, but it's just sort of like taking. I don't know where the channel's going to go, but maybe me and Mr. Roz will have like a few drinks on our Christmas thing, and we discuss it and see what's going to happen. But it won't be let's plays, unfortunately. If they were doing good numbers, then we'll probably keep doing it. But it's just not
It's
worth
a
it.
lot of work for literally no reward, and it's especially if you're doing longer games, which we have done in the past. We've done like RPGs and stuff before, and it literally goes on for months, and we get like eight views a video, and you're thinking, I've kind of tied myself down to doing this for the next like 3 months, and nobody's watching it. It's just not worth the effort.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna try some different stuff. But hopefully you've watched the Final Fantasy quiz that we did. It was good fun. We're probably gonna do more stuff like that going forward.
I've got a Mass Effect quiz I'm planning. I wanted to do it during the Christmas period, but because it's Christmas, I don't know if anyone's time is going to be when it all coincides where we can all do it. And maybe something for after Christmas, maybe something like for the new year, you know, something like that.
Big fat quiz of the new year.
Could be. I mean, like, yeah, like it's the Game Awards coming up soon, and some of that was interesting. But
literally a few days away at this point.
Yeah,
is
but
it the 12th? Is it?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But if we can, Mr. Ross is just fact checking that.
I think it's the 12th.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just the 9th. Excuse me.
Oh right, so it's really
Tuesday the 9th. So yeah. That's going to be difficult though because it's always on at stupid o'clock here. It starts quite late and it runs until like 4 in the morning or something. And I always try and watch it and just kind of end up tuning in and out as I sort of fall asleep towards the end of it. And the game of the year, the main award, is always the last thing they present. So that always happens at like 4 in the morning or something.
Yeah.
So I doubt we'll be doing a reaction to that because it's hours long as well. It's not really a thing you can do a reaction video to unless you kind of do a super cut of it.
Yeah. But yeah,
we'll do some stuff around it.
Yeah. But yeah, so like speaking of that, let's go on to gaming news, Mr. Ross. What has been happening in the world of gaming? I don't know why I sound like that, but let's talk about it. What's been happening? What's been going on in the world of gaming, Mr. Ross? What do we
I don't
know?
know, but I'm slightly worried about you.
I'm losing my mind here, man. I'm on top of the world, pa.
It's been too long between podcasts. You've gone crazy.
I've lost it.
Well, I guess the big recent news is Sony's thing they're doing. This sounds really. I'm really selling this, aren't I? They're unifying their subscription offering basically.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of melding. They've got PlayStation Plus, which obviously you need for multiplayer gaming, and also you get like a few games free a month. Same deal as like Xbox Live Gold is really. At this point, they're both basically the same service, and they have PlayStation Now, which is, I would say, their xCloud equivalent, but they were like the first big gaming company to do it. They bought Gaikai back in like 2012 or something, so they've been doing streaming for a long while. It just they've kind of not really given it the push it deserves, so it's very small and kind of like a side thing for them. But now they're trying to unify the two, and there's going to be three tiers of it. First tier is just PlayStation Plus as it is, and then the second tier is you get some of the benefits of Now, so you get like access to some of the PS4 and PS5 games that are already in that service. And then the top end tier is like both services plus some added stuff like PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games, which I'm guessing will be streamed, emulated, or if they're streamed, they'll probably be natively played on hardware but streamed to you. So yeah, Jason Schreier from Bloomberg, I think he's at now, broke the story, and he sort of positioned it as this was their idea to take on Game Pass. And I don't know if that's what his source told him or if that was his own editorializing, but it's kind of hard to look at this and say, oh yeah, they're taking on Game Pass, because the big thing with Game Pass really is the day one stuff, like whether third party or first party games going in day one. That we recently had Back for Blood, the Left 4 Dead spiritual successor, launched straight into Game Pass day one. Stuff like that is kind of the big selling point, I think, Game Pass. Obviously, there's the catalogue of like 300 games or whatever the hell there is in there now, but the big came out. Halo Infinite's coming out 3 days from now, as of recording this anyway. Yeah, Jason Schreier's in his story kind of positioned it as this is them taking on Game Pass, but I don't know if that's what his source told them or if it's just his own editorializing. But it doesn't have the day one stuff that Game Pass has, which is kind of a big selling point of that service. So I don't think it's really going to be taking on Game Pass. It's going to be it seems more just them sort of streamlining their offering, because apparently as part of this they're getting rid of the PlayStation Now branding, so it would be, don't know if they're going to brand this differently, but PlayStation Plus is, I guess, going to be the main branding going forward, and then there's just different tiers of it. So I think it's just them kind of trying to streamline that offering rather than necessarily take on Game Pass, because the big thing about Game Pass and what everyone talks about, obviously, is the first party stuff going in day one, and then you get the odd big-ish third party game going in day one, like Back for Blood came out just recently. And if Sony aren't doing that, then they're not really competing with Game Pass, if you ask me. So it just seems more like a kind of way to streamline their offering and make it kind of simplify it a bit. But guess we'll see where it goes. Neither of us really play on PlayStation at this point, so it's kind of talking about services we just sort of know about by ear, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What else has been happening? There's must be more stories, surely. There's the this one happened recently. Was the Activision letting go members of their QA team? Was it Raven Studios?
Yeah, Raven Software.
Yeah, Software. Sorry. Yeah.
Who have long been a support studio for Call of Duty series, which sucks because they used to make their own games and they were good at it, but they've just been sort of tied to Call of Duty for more than a decade at this point. And apparently they sent out emails to people saying, from the QA team, saying, come in for an interview and you'll find out whether you've been promoted or fired, which is great. Right before Christmas. Yeah. Apparently a good chunk of them have just been let go. So that sucks. Right before Christmas. But this is what Activision does. This they announce record profits and then they lay people off. just to make their profits look even better, because then they save on those people's salaries. So then, we've got even more money. Look, the profits are even bigger than we told you. This is a tactic. They do this every year. They just lay people off just to prop up their fucking profit. Even when they're making money hand over fist and giving large chunks of it to Bobby Kotick and then letting people go. And I mean, obviously there's all the abuse allegations that come out recently, which we won't get too into because there's like active cases and everything going on, but they're not a good company. Stop buying their games. Fuck them.
I mean, they make Call of Duty all the time, so what the fuck?
That's why I don't buy Activision games anymore, because that's all they make, and I don't care about that.
Yeah, I mean, how much can you sort of milk a franchise?
Well, a lot. They still seem to be selling a lot of it.
What's the new one called? Vanguard, right? I think it's sold well because it's like you say, it's Call of Duty and they made profit. But I haven't played one since Call of Duty 2. I know you played Infinite Warfare, didn't you? So
I played a few hours of Infinite Warfare, and that's the last one I've played. I just can't even bring myself to finish a campaign these days. They're just so. It's just the same game again. Like, why do I want to play the same game every year?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, speaking of a big company, there's been some trademark wranglings from the game Take-Two. What's the developer? Who developed that game? Who develops it? I should know this because I worked on the designs and artwork. I had to do, what the fuck were they called? Yeah, because if you don't know, I don't work. I work. EA is a company without we do the designs and advertising for. So they're my client. So I got to be careful what I say. But yeah, like Take-Two, there's been some trademark and wranglings. Basically, whoever has Take-Two or Takes Two in their name is been threatened with court action because it's trademarked. So
not just Take-Two. It's Mafia, Rockstar.
Okay.
Civilization. Just loads of really generic terms and normal everyday words that they're trying to take people to court over. And obviously, like you mentioned, EA, they published It Takes Two, the game, which they've had to abandon their trademark, the studio that made it, because of it. And it's like, as I understood it, I'm not a trademark lawyer, obviously, just an idiot who reads stuff on the internet. But as I understood it, if it was in like a separate industry, you couldn't like challenge it. But apparently they've like tried to sue restaurants and
barbecue makers.
And there's an axe throwing company in Florida apparently called Rockstar Axe Throwing, and they've threatened them. And just like, how can you like try and litigate the word rockstar when that's a I mean, what are you going to call someone who's in a really big rock band now? Are you not allowed to call them a rock star because Take-Two will come and sue you?
Yeah.
Like, it's just nonsense. It reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, this was a fair few years back now, there was a guy called Tim Langdell who had a company called Edge, and he tried to sue everyone that used the word Edge in games. Even like he went to the effort of like making announcement pages for fake games so that he could sue people. Like when Mirror's Edge was coming out, he made a fake page on his website for a game called Mirrors by Edge, just so that he could sue them to say they were infringing his copyright. And the magazine Edge used to actually pay him to license the name.
Yeah.
It's just all nonsense.
Has the game Take-Two got rid of their trademark of that name, the name of the game?
Yeah, they've had to abandon the trademark.
Oh.
So they can't say they own It Takes Two now.
It's stupid though, man. Like
it is. It's nonsense.
This is just it's really like, if this goes ahead, this could open up a can of worms, man. Like anything could be. You even like, I don't know, if you name yourself like just imagine if you got your name Take-Two in your like YouTube channel or something, you just get sued by Take-Two.
There probably is someone.
Yeah.
But I remember a few years back when Mojang, if this was before they were owned by Microsoft, so this is kind of funny in retrospect, they started making a game and they called it Scrolls, and then Bethesda sued them because they said it was impacting on the Elder Scrolls trademark. And that, like, it's bullshit, but at least that's in the same industry. It's both within the games industry, so you could maybe make probably a stupid argument that it confused people. But all this stuff with Take-Two is just nonsense. But it's kind of funny now because Mojang and Bethesda are both owned by Xbox now. One tried to sue the other not too long ago. But yeah, this stuff is just like, it's not even adjacent, you know, it's like a barbecue company. No one's going to see a barbecue company and think, I thought they made video games though. It's just, I hope to God that it all gets thrown out and Take-Two have to pay people for wasting their time. Obviously the lawyers are going to be the ones that win, but it's nonsense, isn't it?
It is nonsense, Mr. Ross. It is fucking nonsense. You know what isn't nonsense? Our topic for today. Oh wait, are we done with gaming news? Is there one more thing? I was going to segue into something. Yeah,
I ruin your segue, but there was one more thing I wanted to mention. It'd look weird if I didn't, because I kind of teased it earlier. But I said I've been playing Yakuza 3 mostly through xCloud because it's just really convenient. And Microsoft added a new little addition to xCloud this last week, I think. Feature that's only available in the Canary version of Edge, which I think is like their public test version of the Edge browser. It's a feature called Clarity Boost. Excuse me, I can't speak properly. So it's just a little button you click up the top of the window, and it makes the picture like clearer and cleaner, and it also ups the brightness slightly. So I think it's probably mainly like a sharpening filter with a bit of contrast. But it does work surprisingly well. You toggle it on and off and you can see the picture getting like blurrier and sharper. And yeah, I've been using it quite a bit because I've been playing Yakuza 3 through streaming just for convenience on my laptop. And yeah, it's a nice little new feature for those people that are using xCloud. And obviously as adoption for that grows, which I think will happen now that it's on browsers, it's on phones. You know, it's kind of feasible now that someone could just get a Game Pass Ultimate subscription or whatever, and then just play Xbox stuff without any hardware, or without like obviously like a powerful PC or an Xbox. Obviously, you'd need some hardware. But I think the more they want to push into sort of having that as a viable entry point, the more stuff like Clarity Boost will be appreciated, and hopefully they keep adding stuff to it and building it up because it's nice extra to have.
Cool. All right. Well, we've been waffling on about gaming news in our lives for a bit. Should we get into our topic, which is just it's not like a specific topic. It's quite a broad topic, but Mr. Ross, I can see from your background that you like anime.
Lies.
You like? I mean, for audio listeners, Mr. Ross has a few like kawaii figures in the background. So yeah, anime, man. Let's talk about that because we hint at it and we talk about it a bit, but today we're just going to discuss a bit. We're just going to discuss anime, which is one of our many sort of passions or loves what we have. But saying that, I'm going to start off controversially. My watching of anime has decreased a hell of a lot. I'm not watching as much as I used to. Maybe it's time. It's getting older, or maybe there's not as good stuff out there. Besides the obvious anime, like say Attack on Titan, which I think everyone who watches anime's watched, because it's just like an event thing. It's like you gotta watch the final season, because I know you didn't really like it because it's a bit of departure from what we used to. But besides, like we can discuss that in a minute. Besides that, I haven't watched too much. I tried to watch Jujutsu Kaisen because everyone raves about it being good, and I think it's meh. It's kind of mid. I don't think it's as good as everyone is saying. I watched it. I was like, yeah, I've seen this before, man. It's like a generic shonen. People with powers. The main protagonist is likable. He's super strong, and he like powers up. It's just like I've seen it so many times, and I'm just like, I don't really see what people are getting towards it. I like the love it's getting. I'm like, it's okay. I don't think it's amazing. Um, there's better shonen or better anime than that. Obviously, I think Demon Slayer was good. Demon Slayer is one of those animes I sat through and consumed, like binge watched it. I thought I'd be like that with Jujutsu Kaisen, but I haven't. I just slogging through it very, very, very slowly. It's almost like a chore. When something's a chore that you're supposed to enjoy, it's not fun, is it? It's just like, I suppose I've got to watch another episode just so I've watched it. You know what I mean? I don't want to abandon it, but like, what do you think of to that, Mr. Ross? My controversial statement there. I know you like the show, so what's you got to say?
I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd put it up there in the pantheon of greats or anything, but I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, it is very much a shonen anime, which you've watched a shonen anime before. You've seen a lot of it. One thing I think it did do to stand out a bit is actually have decent female characters, which a lot of shonen anime don't really. And so I appreciated it for that. But yeah, I mean, if you're not into it, you're not into it. And like I say, it's not something I wouldn't put it in my top 10 of all time or anything, but I enjoyed watching it, and I'll check out a season 2 whenever it comes along. But with me and anime, I kind of this is why we could never be an anime channel like as such, because like as you're saying, you don't watch as much as you used to, and I don't really watch the new stuff at the time it comes out. So you watch like anime YouTubers, and they're just constantly like binge watching everything that comes out,
Well,
because they need to stay on top of it.
You say that, you say that, but one of the anitubers, as they're called, that we both like, the anime man, he's come out and said, I don't watch anime that much anymore. He's even said he probably hasn't watched like any shows like in the last few months, and he's the anime man. And but anyway, I just use that as a point, like, we could never be.
Generally speaking, like people that have anime channels, they have to stay up to date on what's new every season, and I don't do that. To be honest, I don't even really pick one show a season and watch that. I watch whatever I feel like watching at the time. And there's exceptions, like when there's a new season of Attack on Titan, obviously I'll watch it as it airs. And as you mentioned, I wouldn't say I disliked the last season. I was just kind of puzzled by it, because it seemed like a different show, quite honestly. Season 3, I think I said this in a previous podcast. Season 3 was legitimately one of the best seasons of anime I've ever seen.
I really enjoyed season 3. I think I enjoyed the first half more than the second half, even though they were both halves were really good. I quite enjoyed having Levi as the lead in his world. I quite enjoyed that. But
some incredible animation in the first half as well, like the bit where Levi's trying to escape the police people on the rooftop chase. Some amazing animation in there, but yeah, like
Kenny, Kenny. Yeah, sorry,
but yeah, I'll watch the odd show as it airs. Like I watched Demon Slayer as it aired. I watched Jujutsu Kaisen as it aired. I watched Attack on Titan as it aired. And then like the odd thing like Tower of God, which I enjoyed, but I think it didn't live up to the first few episodes, which felt like it felt like it had this really mysterious world that I wanted to learn more about, and kind of reminded me of the Panzer Dragoon series on the Sega Saturn, which had this really weird, mysterious world. But it didn't kind of turn into anything as interesting as I thought it was going to. I still enjoyed it, but for the most part, I don't really keep up with like seasonal stuff. I just like if a show grabs my attention, I'll watch it, and I tend to just watch like one episode a night before bed, so it takes me a while to get through a show. So I do watch a lot of anime, but I'm not up on like the latest stuff every season. And sometimes I just want to rewatch something old as well, like kind of feeling like I want to watch Samurai Champloo again soon. And if you're constantly watching everything that's new, you can't really go back and revisit old favorites because you just don't have the time. And it just feels like it'd be a whole like separate job just to stay up to date with anime, especially now you've got it. Obviously you've got Crunchyroll, which I'm pretty sure we're both sub to.
Yeah, I've got a subscription to it.
And then Netflix have got loads of stuff now, and Amazon Prime has started to show stuff. Like, I think Vinland Saga is only on Amazon Prime, and I've been meaning to watch that for a while. There's too much to watch.
Yeah, man. I kind of feel like the same with video games, man. Like, especially with Game Pass, it's just like I'm so spoiled. So much to play and so much options, man. Obviously back in the day when you had to buy your physical games, but now you can just download it and get it off the stream onto the service. It's just like with everything day one coming out on it, it's just like what? Oh, come on, man.
It's choice paralysis, isn't it? It's just there's so you think, oh, I want to start a new game or I want to start a new anime, and you look through the libraries on these various digital platforms, and you're just like, there's too much. I can't pick.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, with so many streaming services, so many options, so many websites. Back in the day, which I know is going to be controversial, I did watch stuff here from certain websites that weren't.
I'm sure everyone that watches anime has done that.
I mean, that's how. If I couldn't, like, this is before it was so readily available to us. I was like, I really want to watch it, but I can't get the Blu-ray. I can't get the DVD. Funimation. No, they were. I don't even think they were big of a thing. They don't have it, so I was just like, I gotta sort of go on these websites. I mean, I watched Clanad season 1 and 2 on these sites, and
whose names shall remain unknown.
I shall say nothing, Mr. Ross. But I own them now on DVD. It's like one of those things. Like we like going to conventions and cons and all that geek shit, right? We love it, and like even when we get older, I think we're just going to still do it. I do buy anime.
We're older now, Paul.
I mean, older, like when we're like in like
elderly.
When we're too old for this shit. I mean, like, luckily we live in a world now where you can be an adult, and it's accepted that people like older people like games, and some people like collecting toys, which personally I'm not into. Like, you know what I mean?
What's wrong with those weirdos?
Yeah, I mean, whatever they're into, man. Like, people have too much nostalgia for some things, man. Like, I'm going off topic, but there's like YouTube channels where people buy like toys from the 80s
toys,
and they're like, oh, it reminds me of my childhood. I'm like, oh, dude, come on, man. You're like in your 40s, man. Like, just no. I mean, I liked them at the time, and I still have some. My mum still has some. She even showed it to me the other day. I was like, oh, look, your He-Mans and your Turtles. I was like, oh man, I used to love these things, but I don't feel like I have to go out and collect them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we could talk about that in another podcast, man. That sounds like a good topic we can fucking get into. But going back to anime, man, like the shows that we love, and we were thinking of doing like our top like 10 animes, maybe do a video that was like a 3x3, you know, where we've come up with our own. But yeah, man, like give us a little bit of background, I know we've told each other what our first animes were, and I'm pretty sure I know which one your one was. But for me, I still can't decide which one was it, because obviously we were too old. We were in our teens when Pokemon came out, and that's a lot of people's entryway. But mine, I think, was it's Robotech. I'm pretty sure they showed it on BBC or Channel 4 because I remember Channel 4 at night used to show a lot of anime for some reason. It just like
that is where I saw my
uh,
first ever anime. Late
yeah,
night Channel 4.
yeah. I flicked through. I was like, "What the hell's this?" It's like it was weird that they would just show it. You know what I mean? They would show like a lot of violent animes and stuff like that. I was just like, "Oh!" I think that's where I watched about Lolita Battle Angel. It came on Channel 4. And they had the
OVAs.
yeah, they had the yeah. I was just like, "Oh my god, what is this?" But I'm pretty sure I could be wrong. My first was Robotech, and I know in other countries it was Lacrosse, Macross.
Macross,
Yeah, but here they packaged it as Robotech
and made it a completely different story and everything.
And the thing is, with how they were showing it, it was completely out of order. Because I know there's a long run show, but they would show it out of order. They would have like the main character Rick. One episode he's like this young, like up and coming Robotech fighter. The next one he's this old like general or like captain. And I was like, what? What's happened here, man? Why has he jumped like this?
I feel like we're missing something.
Yeah, it was like and I've never actually sat down and watched the whole thing back like in its chronological order because it's just like a lot.
Yes, that is a lot.
Yeah. So I think that is my first one, but I'm pretty sure your one was Akira. Like I've heard this story, but I don't think you've told it on the podcast or anything.
I may have done. We've definitely talked about it before, but it was the same thing. It was late night Channel 4, but this was. I was definitely too young to watch it. I think I was about 9 or 10, and for some reason they just had it on Channel 4. It was on very late, like overnight, pretty much, and but they showed an ad for it in the evening, and I'd never seen anything like it, so it immediately caught me and my brother's attention, and my dad saw it. Like we were all sitting there watching the TV, and the ad came on, and my dad was like, "Oh, Akira, I've heard about that," and me and my brother were like, "What is it?" It's like, "Oh, it's some kind of Japanese science fiction cartoon." I think it was on at like 11 or midnight or something. Obviously, I was 9 or 10. My brother was 11 or 12. And so obviously we couldn't stay up to watch it. So we asked my dad to video it for us. And so, yeah, this would have been mid-90s. And yeah, remember when we had VHS? And we videoed stuff off the TV?
Yeah,
so, yeah, my dad did that for us, and then we all watched it the next day. And my dad was like, "Oh, I didn't know it was like this. I shouldn't have let you watch it."
Dear God, Jesus Christ!
Pretty graphic for like a 9-10-year-old.
And when you think about it, Akira is actually quite a tame like anime compared to some animes you get.
Compared to some, yeah.
Some you get just like, what the hell am I? Why am I watching this? This is just ridiculous.
We're not going to mention Urotsuki Doji.
No, oh God, our good friend Dan, ex-Chum, I remember when we first started hanging out with him, he wanted to buy that. He specifically wanted it. I was like, "Why do you want to get Legend of the Over thing for?" And he's like, "No, I just want it." I was like, "Yeah, I know what you want it for, you dirty bastard."
Because that was like kind of like playground legend when that came out.
Yeah,
like everyone wanted to see it because it was so talked about. But I don't know. I only know one person that's ever actually seen it, and he's a bit of a weirdo. So
I've not actually watched it. I've only seen like clips of it, and the infamous scenes and stuff. And I remember Channel 4 did a documentary on anime, and that was in there, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" They were just like talking about like this cultural significance of anime and its historical like themes it has, and like what I mean. And obviously like tentacles and stuff is a lot. I was just like, yeah, this is a bit much. I don't think I really want to watch that. I don't know if the story's any good. I've not but it's kind of a thing. I'm like,
there's like 4 or 5 of them as well now.
Yeah. There's quite a few, and I think the first one's obviously the most notorious one and probably the most graphic one. But yeah, I didn't really. It's not something. I mean, I've obviously watched violent anime, and I quite like it when it's something when it's done right. It's like a work of art. Obviously, it's done good. If it serves a story, I don't mind it. But some are just gratuitous, just for the sake of it. But I don't really want that sort of stuff. I know there's quite a few. I remember like when I was in secondary school, high school for American listeners. The Guyver, like Guyver, my friend had the VHS. He was like, "Oh, I got Guyver." I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And obviously I've watched anime, but that was proper one of the ones where it's proper gruesome, violent. I must have been like 12 or something like that. I came over to his house and we watched it on his TV. I was like, oh man, this stuff is awesome. Do you know what I mean? Like the guy just like gets his suit and he just like transforms into the Guyver and he's fighting monsters. And I was just like, wow, this is this is something else, man. But you know, with anime, there's all every sort of niche and sort of aspect of life is covered in anime, which I quite like. You know,
And then they did those bad live action Guyver movies, which were bad.
it had Mark Hamill in the first one. I never realized it. I was like, oh, Mark Hamill's in that.
They were not good films.
No, I mean, like Guyver 2, I saw on TV, and I thought that was okay. It wasn't great. I mean, like they just had like, obviously they had no CGI, so it was just like the Zoinoids, I think they were called. They were just guys in goofy suits, and it just looked a bit like Power Rangers. It's like, but
it's very Power Ranger-y.
The fight scenes was quite well choreographed, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, like man, like I say, like there was a period like because we're just going to chat where in my life where I had a massive like anime like sort of period where I just constantly watched anime like day after, like literally I would finish one show. I was like, I got to watch something else, so I just started watching it. And I think I mentioned that to you, like I was like, oh, I'm just like constantly watching anime. And there was like it's like I don't know what it was. It's like a period in my life where I was just like, or you know, when you're existentially questioning everything. I was like, I need something just to watch, just to take my mind off it. And I just started watching loads of like proper. I think like because I just had Crunchyroll as well and Funimation. I was like, I'm just gonna just sit here in my pants to watch anime, and it was probably like some of my best moments where I had were just like there, just like I'm just going to consume as much as I can.
Immersing yourself in it.
Immersing myself. Like, I watched some of my favorite shows came out of like Steins Gate for one thing. That was one I was on that trip. But I remember like I think it was Gig Up, a YouTuber, like a really famous YouTuber from UK who reviewed it. And I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And I watched another guy who reviewed it called Glass Reflection. He reviewed it and he really
I like Glass Reflection stuff.
Really
good channel.
Like that good channel. Really thoughtful, intelligent guy. Really explains and breaks it down. Go and watch him. I mean, he's great. And he reviewed it, and I was just like, these are two guys I really like and respect. I'm gonna watch it, and man, it's probably my favorite anime of all time. Which is itself based on the video game, which I didn't know at the time, but I found out it's based on a video game. Which yeah, man, like you've played, I've played a bit, and yeah, it's good, man. Like the characters, the world building in that, especially near halfway through the anime where you get that sort of big, I won't spoil it, so
stuff happens,
that bit where actual stuff happens, but it all builds up to it. And people criticize like the beginning of Steins Gate because it's like slow, not much happens in it. But I think I quite like that because you get to learn more about the characters and their interactions with each other. It's more fun and friendly. Then you have that big bit of the during, like I want to say not even in the middle really. It's like episode 7 or 8, I think. It like you get that sort of turn, and then it sort of gets serious, and then you're just like, oh, okay. And the mental what's his name again? Okabe. His mental like sort of breakdown is painful to watch. Like when I first saw it, I was like, damn, this poor guy. But I would talk about it more, but it'll be spoiling it. And yeah, just go and watch it, man.
Don't want to spoil Steins Gate. If you have the time, play the game because the game has a lot more in it. But if otherwise, at the very least, go and watch the anime because it's just a really good story with really good characters.
It's one of those ones I would always recommend to people who are interested in anime or just sort of getting into it. I'll always say, yeah, watch Steins Gate. I'll put it on there as one of the best animes, like story. Like it's got like it's not hard to say. It's like I can't. Not spoiling anything to say it's got time travel in it. That's the main premise of it. But it uses that time travel premise to good effect. It's sort of like, it's not like Back to the Future or anything like that. it's some serious consequences come from something that they were just messing around with. But go and watch it, like, please, I would say watch that. And yeah, man, like there's
Manages to remain internally consistent as well, which is
yeah.
always the main thing with time travel.
Mm,
With time travel stories, a lot of the time they just like fuck around with it just to try and make stuff fit, and then it just kind of ruins the main conceit that Steins Gate remains internally consistent.
well,
As far as
yeah,
I can remember,
until
it's a long story.
until Steins Gate Zero came about, and it kind of like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we
not.
don't need to talk about Steins Gate Zero.
It was okay, but it just nah. But yeah, man, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wanted to go back to something you mentioned earlier as well when you were talking about watching anime on some not so savory sites, which, again, I think everyone that watches anime has done that at some point because of how hard it can be to find certain stuff. Like some stuff just never gets released, or as was very often the case when we both first started getting into anime, stuff would go out of print and never come back. So it'd be like if a new release came out and you didn't buy it like on the day it came out, you might as well just say goodbye to it. Because they'd get released in very small numbers, at least here in the UK, and then a month later you wouldn't be able to find it, and that would be it, and you'd never get to see it. So I think we've all done that, but it kind of, while you were talking about that, it kind of reminded me of what Gabe Newell said about piracy once, which is piracy is a service problem. If you give people like a convenient, affordable way to access the content you're offering, most people will just go, oh yeah, okay, that'll do. It's like you look at stuff like Netflix, which is obviously how many millions, hundreds of millions of people use Netflix, and but Crunchyroll was like such a revelation for anime, at least here. I can only speak about the experience in the UK, but it used to be like, it's more so back in the VHS days. You'd buy a VHS and it'd have like 2, maybe 3 episodes on it if you were lucky, and it'd cost you like 20-25 quid for one video. So you'd have to buy all these videos, and they were like this thick. They took up so much space. They cost you a fortune. And as I say, like if you didn't buy it the day it came out, it was gone. With DVD, it got a bit better because you could fit more episodes on a disc, and they tended to be a bit cheaper, and they were a lot slimmer, so you can get more on a shelf. But it was still the same case as if you didn't buy it when it came out, you might as well just wave goodbye to it because it'd be gone forever. Like I remember, like before Evangelion came on Netflix, how would people watch that? There was no legitimate version of it. Like I have the what's it called, Perfect
What's that?
Platinum box set, I think it's called, which is last time I looked, it was worth like 800 quid because there was no legitimate like way to buy a new copy of it to watch it, and that is a seminal show in anime. It's a massive influence on not just anime but other stuff, like all the way up to like Pacific Rim, big Western movies, and you couldn't watch it legitimately for years. And then Crunchyroll comes along. Obviously, Evangelion isn't on Crunchyroll, but Crunchyroll comes along and says, "Here's thousands of anime. Give us £5 a month, and you can just watch it." And like at that point, like I'd be amazed if anime piracy was anywhere near as high, sort of post Crunchyroll, as it was prior to that, because it's just they made it so accessible and so affordable. And it just, I always think about that and remember that Gabe Newell quote, which is he said as like they were bringing Steam to market and like trying to streamline the whole sort of PC gaming ecosystem and make it usable and affordable. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. Like generally, I have pirated stuff in the past. I used to, as I say, I used to pirate anime. I used to pirate music. And as soon as like reliable, cheap streaming stuff came in, like I signed up to what was it? Microsoft's music streaming thing. I can't remember what it's called now.
Not Zoom, was it?
Yes, it was. It was Zune. Zune Pass is which it launched at. And when that became available, I signed up to that, and then when they closed that down, it became Groove Music, and then they closed it down, and I moved on to Google Play Music, and it's convenient. Maybe not everything is on there, but the vast majority of stuff you want is going to be on there. You just play it on your phone, pay £10 a month, and it's sorted. And it's the same thing with Crunchyroll. Like, not everything is on there, but tons of stuff is. And it just it gives you the opportunity not just to watch stuff that you might have missed because it went out of print and you'd never see it again, but also new stuff that maybe you didn't know you would have liked, and you wouldn't have taken a punt on at £25 for 3 episodes. But so yeah, I mean, like, people might like complain about streaming services and stuff, but I think they've really helped in a lot of ways, just kind of like democratized access to content in a lot of instances. Yeah, you kind of touched on the piracy thing earlier, and that just kind of sparked that idea in my head.
Okay. Yeah, man. Speaking of, like, you mentioned Evangelion, which is another one of my all-time favorites, and I'm pretty sure it'll be on your list as well if we ever came across to make one. Yeah, I first watched that actually on YouTube before YouTube got really strict on like copyright and stuff like that. I watched the whole season, 25 episodes on YouTube. They had this was like early days of YouTube, and it was like the Wild West, so anything went on them. And so
you can still find some stuff on there.
You can, yeah. I mean, like, you can. I mean, like,
it's surprising these days, but you can still find the option.
Yeah, I think like now, because like the creators can just monetize it. You know, they claim it and they can make money of it, so it makes sense not just to take it down, but to allow the channel to have it, but make money off it. I remember, man, like, this is like a bit of a guilty pleasure that I watched on YouTube, the whole of fucking Love Hina. Love Hina on there. I watched all of it, and there was a lot. They had the main series, then they had like OVAs, and they had like the sort of season 2, which was much shorter. But I watched the whole thing, and the whole thing, I remember, which is a trope in anime, which I hate, which is the main guy has a harem, and then there's always the main girl, but they always sort of like, she might be a tsundere or something like that, and you're just like wondering if they're ever going to get together. And I know, I think they did in the end, but it took like about fucking excuse me, about 40 episodes. Just like, oh, for God's sake, just get together. And we can make another podcast about this, tropes I hate in anime, but that's one thing I hate, man. Like, that sort of thing, will they, won't they? It's like the Ross and Rachel thing. I mean, after a while, you just don't give a shit. Just like, oh, well, whatever, man. I don't
just
care.
Move on.
And they get together like at the end, so it's like you don't see their relationship grow. And I kind of like anime where especially like I like romantic animes. I do. That's one of my things. Slice of life, those things. It's just like fun. I like it, but sometimes it gets annoying when I'm just like, oh, it's going to be one of those animes, isn't it? Girl meets boy, then there has misunderstandings, and there's like the best friend comes into it. You know, I mean, there's a rival for this person's affection. but I really was like, I really want to watch an anime where they just have a life together. You just see their relation. Like, sure, you can have all that stuff. Maybe in the next season they get together and you get to see how their life
they are together.
Yeah, which that is why I rank Clanad so highly, because you have all that, and then in season 2 they actually they live together, they get married, and they have a life together. And it's just like, oh, that's something that's rare to see. There's ups and downs. I mean, life together with your partner can have its dramas. Doesn't always have to be the chase and the back and forth. It's
it's not the achievement and then that's it. Everybody lives happily ever after. There are stories to tell after that point.
Yeah, and that's like a thing I like about anime. There's something out there for everyone, man. Like, if you want action, there's shonen up the arse. If you want escapism, there's isekais. Do you know what I mean? Just like, but
too many isekai.
Too many isekais. If that some people say they once
everything is isekai now.
Once a trope becomes popular, it gets milked to shit, boy. Milk to hell. Like, isekai is just coming out, and just like, oh, another generic isekai, great. But this,
I say that with like a shelf full of Sword Art Online figurines behind me.
Oh God, I can't stand
which is an anime that is terrible now.
It's
I genuinely loved the first season of it, and Sword Art Alternative, which was like a spin-off, which is actually really good.
I
But
I can't stand
first couple of
Sword Art.
seasons, I loved it, and then it's.
Mm.
I mean, I say that, and I have like one of the main characters from the latest season on my shelf, just because I like her design.
Who is
But
that,
like,
by the way? No, just
that's
what's her name?
Alice from Sword Art Online Alicization, which is shite. It's really, really bad, and I hate it, and it sucks. But I still bought the figurine. But so here's a question for you, because you were saying there's something for everyone. Have you ever watched a sports anime?
Oh, there's
Because
so
it's a
many.
fairly big subgenre,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's one a lot of people
You
don't
got
watch.
you got there's boxing. You got ice skating. You got the swim one. I don't know if I watched three. I might have started watching it, but I don't know if I finished it. And what's the basketball one? There's a couple of basketball. There's also I know there was a football one, a soccer one, like for American listeners. I don't know if I ever watched it, but that's a good question, man. Have I watched one that's just? Oh, it might have been free. I don't know if it was that or Yuri on Ice, but I know I watched one. I can't remember, man. This might have been back in the day where I was just been watching it. It was just absorbed into my eyeballs, and it just also merged into one. But yeah, I think I have watched sports anime, but yeah, it's a niche topic subgenre in anime.
It is, isn't it? You talk about anime. Most people don't really talk about sports anime, but there are some that are huge.
Yeah,
and it's always kind of surprised me a bit that they're as big as they are when it seems like a lot of the audience doesn't care.
In like I watched the wrestling anime. This when it, like speaking of like hard to access, I remember like Toonami had anime. It had the anime hour or like section, isn't it? Like I remember that. I think that was one of my like where I could watch it without having to legally download it. Yeah, and I think I was too young to do that before. This before I had my own computer and all that. So I watched it, and that introduced me to a lot of my favorite anime. Like I don't know if Cowboy Bebop was on there. I don't think it was, but Outlaw Star was on there, which was one of my favorites. This was '97, so yeah, I think there was the Big O, and was it Inuyasha?
Inuyasha,
Yeah, I think that was on there, and I know there was another
I
one.
think it was.
There was another one I just can't remember for the life of me. Obviously, Dragon Ball was on there. I think that's where I first watched Dragon Ball because I know in mainland Europe they had like, especially when I would go France, they had like Goku and stuff. I was like, what the hell is this, man? How come we're not getting it? And this was back when we were kids. So
this reminds me of the first time I ever actually saw Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z was when I was on holiday in Portugal when I was maybe 12. And I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen it because, like you say, it was never on TV for us. And we stayed at this rented property in Portugal, and it was on TV. It was on every afternoon, and I just sort of sat there staring at the TV while it was all like fully dubbed in Portuguese. And I just remember staring at the TV, not knowing what the hell was going on, just thinking, "This is weird. Why's that guy got a tail?" Not having any idea. That was my first exposure to Dragon Ball Z was in Portuguese.
I think like you say, man, like I know you watched Toonami, didn't you? You watched that, and I remember
Pieces,
I remember they did like a marathon of like Dragon Ball Z, so they would show it from the beginning and go through to its current. I think at the time it wasn't Majin Buu. It might have been. I think it was the end of the Frieza saga. They would just play it back to back. I remember like I think I was off school or something, and I was just like, I'm just gonna sit here and watch all this. And I just sat there. I was like, oh, it's just like it was like my early binge watching. But like as a kid, it kept my attention. But I was always thinking, when are they actually going to fight? Like, why is it taking so long? Like they talk, the characters would just monologue, like talk to each other, the episode, and they would show off, they'll power up, and then they would do a few moves. Yeah, have a flashback. Then they'll fight for like a second stop, and they'll go, he's really good. He's power level, and it's just like, when are they actually going to get into it? This is why
that's another one for our tropes we hate topic.
Yeah, I mean, we could make something like another one of our anime ones, tropes we hate in anime. But I was just like, oh man, when are they going to fight? But when they did fight, it was great. But that's why I like YouTube, because they have supercuts and they just like you can just watch like something that's lasts like about, I don't know, 10 episodes condensed down into like 10 minutes with actual the combat. But yeah, man, like then I was just like, wow, why don't we get stuff like this in the West? Obviously, like the animation in Western animation is not as good as the Japanese one. They take more pride. I mean, like some episodes you watch back of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just so ropey, just like, wow, it's just getting kind of shitty looking.
But
But
to be fair, they were more adverts to sell toys to kids
and
and Western
Transformers,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
Transformers and Turtles and Visionaries. I still
man.
love Visionaries. That was great. Knights of the Magical Light.
I used to have the toys as well, the reflective stuff on there.
Like the staffs with the hologram on them.
Oh yeah,
They were great.
Yeah, man. Like, I think it's like in Japan, like if you like anime, you like consider an otaku, but I think that encompasses like all the sort of like culture of it, like the music, the t-shirts, like you got the figures, and we're all into that. I quite like that part of it. Like I probably buy more figures and books and the merchandise than I do at some anime. Like I quite like that. I just like buying and going, look at this figure, man. This figure's cool, man.
Well, it's like when we were at LAGC, was it a couple of years ago, and you bought that Rem figure and you hadn't seen.
I haven't seen
ReZero at that point.
At that point, yeah.
And then you watched it, and you're like, I was glad I bought a Rem figure. She's the best girl. And I was like,
she's the best girl. And I think I haven't watched season 2, but I heard she's sidelined. So best girl has been sidelined. But I never got his obsession with what's the main girl's name? Amelia. I was just like, she's just kind of there. She doesn't really help him or nothing like that. It's kind of weird. Like he has this obsession with her. It's kind of like a bit weird. Like she's got this like unhealthy obsession with her, and it's like I don't want to use the term simping, but he kind of like is. I'm just like, oh, he's really pathetic, man. But Subaru is lovely, man. He grows on you. He is another trope, of this whingy guy then mans up and such and such. But it's a good story, man. Like for what he
another isekai.
Yeah, about a good isekai, man. That's a good that's a good one, man. I like that. But like
there are good ones.
Yeah, it's like I like isekais. I like slice of life. I like the romantic stuff, even though a lot of the romantic stuff is set in high school, which is a big another trope and theme that I don't like. Is everything's got to be set in high school for when it comes to these sort of things. I'm just like, there's life outside of high school. I know like the demographics aimed at people in high school, or not even high school, sometimes middle school, which I believe is like they're like, I don't know, like the age is like they're up to 14 years old. So it's a bit weird watching these like romantic things with like kids who are like 13, 14. I'm just like, I know
middle school has always puzzled me because that's not really something we have here. We have primary school and secondary school.
Yeah.
So I never know. Like when someone says, "Oh yeah, I watched that in middle school," I'm like, I don't know what age that is. That means nothing to me.
I think it is like 14. I think they're going to high. Well, who cares, man? Anyway, like, and then you watch that, just like this is a bit weird, but why are they like focus on this love story between like kids? But in Japan, the age is different, which for us, I think 16 is. Oh man, we're getting into like some
getting into really weird shit now.
Yeah, just like but yeah, man, like that's why like I'm going to talk about another anime I quite like. It is a romantic anime, but it's not set in high school; it's set in college, which is just like, but at least it's
what
different.
What is this unicorn? Tell me.
It's called Golden. Is it Golden Time or Gold? No, Golden Time. Yeah, and it's set in like in high school, in college. But the main protagonist has got another trope which I hate is amnesia. He's got amnesia. I'm just like, oh, that old chestnut. It's surprising that anyone in Japan can function where amount of people who've got amnesia in their bloody like stories.
Yeah. Whether it's just a JRPG protagonist or an anime protagonist, everyone's forgotten something.
Even in like I used to watch it quite. My sister would like watch dramas, Japanese dramas, and she that was used in that as well, like the amnesiac like protagonist.
There must be some kind of cultural reason why it's so prevalent in Japanese media.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, so he's got short-term memory loss, he's got long-term memory loss. He doesn't know. It's just like, oh, yeah. It serves. It's kind of like a cheap story trick, but it works sometimes. But yeah, like Golden Times, one of my favorite romantic ones because they like each other. Oh god, I don't really want to explain the story, but anyway, they get together and then they have a relationship. Then there's a bit near the end which kind of like, at the time I had a breakup, and when that happened, I was just like, oh no, man, this has crushed me now. I come to watch this to feel good, no, not to feel bad. It kind of hit home. I was just like, oh, man, this hits home, man. It was one of the
It's a
ones
bit
where
too real.
I was watching it when it was being released, so obviously, like, we had to wait like until it got released, and I was like, "Oh man, come on! I should. When's the next week coming, man?" The countdown on the Crunchyroll clock. I was like, oh, "Come on, man, let's get it." But yeah, it has a happy ending. But yeah, man, like anime, we watch anime. We like to talk about it. Don't watch as much as we used to, but it seems to be like a thing now that a lot of people, they like anime. They like the cultural thing about it. You know, the merchandising, the lifestyle, maybe and all that. But fewer people watch it. I don't know. It's just like when you get older, you have less time. You've got other priorities, other things that take up your time. Like
I think you all just also do just get worn down by tropes after all, because it's something we've mentioned and kind of joked about as we've been talking, but it is something that is very prevalent. Like the industry will grab hold of one particular thing and then just do it to death, like isekai. Like Sword Art Online came out, was a massive. Obviously, there were isekai before that, but that was a massive success, and then everything was isekai. And you'd look through Crunchyroll, because, like I say, I don't really watch. I don't watch most stuff when it airs. I just look for something that appeals to me and then watch it. And you look through the catalog, and you're like, so and so is transported to another world next. So and so is transported to another next, and it's just like every anime was like the same thing. And I did go through, like you were talking about how you had that period where you just binge watched Crunchyroll. And I kind of had that with isekai after, I think it was after season 1 of Sword Art Online. I was like, this is a really cool conceit. I want to watch more. And I just watched like tons of isekai to the point where I made myself sick of it. And now when something comes out and it's like transported to another world, I'm like that. So I think it is part of it. Part of it is like the tropes build up over time and start to weigh you down a bit, and you just and because the industry will focus on like one specific area at a time, basically. I think it just becomes a point where you're like, well, I don't really want to watch any more of that kind of thing. I'll just wait until something else comes along that looks interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that is why something like Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Souls kind of did resonate with a lot of people, because obviously they are very much both very shonen anime in the traditional sense, but they kind of broke the run of isekai a little bit, I think. And they both came out and they were both animated well. They told good stories, had good characters, and there was something a little bit different at this point, even though it's like going all the way back to like Dragon Ball and through to like Bleach and Naruto and all that with the shonen anime tropes. It's nothing new, but it was a change.
Cool. Let's talk about, like, before, like, we've been going for a while, so we'll probably wrap this up. But let's talk about that, man. The big shonen shows, and I know like there is obviously Dragon Ball, but I'm talking. Let's talk about a bit more the big three. I think like you have Naruto, you have One Piece, and you had Bleach. And I remember, like, you had to choose one, man. Yeah, you had to decide. Yeah, you couldn't do all three, man. No way. And I chose Bleach because I've watched it. The opening got me, the song got me, and the style of it, and everything else. This is the one for me. This is going to be it. This is the one. This is my one.
So these people are called Soul Reapers. Of course, I'm watching that.
Yeah. This is my one, man. Like, out of the three, it kind of fell flat on its face and died. It got really bad, and I was just like, "Oh, I made my choice. I'm happy with that.
I've made my bed. I have to sleep in it now."
Yeah, obviously, I'm not
800 episodes.
I'm not going to watch One Piece. I'm not going to watch Naruto because that's just too long, and the fandom there is a bit. But it's like Bleach became the unwanted sibling, didn't it? It's sort of just
the literal red-headed stepchild.
Yeah, and I know it's making a comeback, but I think it's dead now, man. It's just too much. It's another trope which I hate in anime, but it's shonen. So the power, like, there's always like a set bar, like, oh, I've got to reach that, and then
until you pass it.
pass it, and it's just like, oh, no one's ever done that before, and then everyone starts doing it. I'm just like, oh, fucking hell! It's like with like Dragon Ball. Oh, Super Saiyan. There's no higher power than Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan 2, Descended Saiyan. I don't know what they got now. They got like Ultra Instinct something now. I'm just like, oh, forget it. It's just stupid now. But
at some point, you just think, can you not just like write an ending?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Please.
One Piece just keeps going. I just don't think that's ever going to end. Kudos for making the story interesting that people still want to watch and read it, because obviously it's based on the manga. But with Bleach, they ran out of ideas pretty quick, man. It just sort of started recycling the same thing.
Arcs as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, all of them have that, but
yeah, all of them do. But it felt like Bleach got there quite quickly.
I mean,
like, I'm still waiting for Tite Kubo to write stuff. Like season 4 was like a whole season of filler.
I mean, like
pretty early on.
Yeah, let's like the main story arc. I thought of the first story arc. Oh no, the second was really good. The Soul Society. No one can tell me that wasn't brilliant. That was so well done, so great. I enjoyed it. I thought, man, that's probably one of the best arcs in anime, like especially in the shonen. Then they did the same thing with Orihime when she went to the was it Wukuwin? Was it? Oh, what is the shadow realm, the hell dimension? I can't even remember. I think
I remember now.
It's Shadow Wuko or something like that. I was like, oh, Wuko. Anyway, and I was like, this is just the same thing, man. This is just the same. It's just, yeah. They had to in the Soul Society, like Ichigo had to go and rescue Rukia in that arc where he goes to rescue Orihime. So he gathers a band together and they go in and they fight each like general or lieutenant, and they vary in power like each of their opponents has. You know what I mean? I was like, this is dumb. Wait a minute, I've seen this before. Wait a minute, you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes. What were they called? The advanced. What were the monsters called in Bleach? Shadows, hollows, and then
that's it. Yeah,
the hollows some hollows gained Soul Reaper like powers, so they like had powers similar to Soul Reapers. And I was like, wow, how did this all happen? Apparently, like it's happened, and no one knew about it. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, it was just basically the Soul Society arc again. I was like, oh shit.
The first 3 seasons of Bleach were so good, though. They really were.
But
I remember you and me got into it at the same time. And it was, I mean, everyone got into it at that time. I remember going to MCM. Literally, the first 3 or 4 MCMs I went to, 50% of the people there were dressed as Ichigo.
Yeah.
you go, oh, I wonder how many Ichigos I'm going to see today.
Yeah.
All of them.
I mean, it's just there's the fucking big sword and all that. I was just like, oh, shit. But yeah, man, like I made my choice. I don't regret it, because that Soul Society, that first 3 seasons were great, and they can't take that away. But it did it did really.
Can't take that away from me. It's still real to me. Damn it.
And I was just like, oh man, they're redoing the same story again with the where they go to face up rescue Orihime. I was like, oh shit, this is it. And they go and
That's
fight.
About where I tapped out. I was like,
and then like have to take out Aizen, who was just so OP. And I don't know how that ended. I think he turned. I don't know. Like, I was watching some cut videos on YouTube. I was like, what the hell has they done to Aizen? He looks like a giant butterfly thing. I was like, okay. And then I don't know, man. But anyway, it was good. The first 3 seasons top. But yeah, man. That's I think we're going for a while, Mr. Ross. I think we're gonna wrap this up, but we'll do more podcasts about more Pacific topics. But today was just more of a general chat and like what our first animes were, just a general like what our not favorite animes, but just what we're just talking about anime in general, what we like about
getting
it,
into nostalgia.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think nostalgia is a dangerous thing. Like, going off topic again, because people who collect the toys and watch the films, and I think like that could be a problem. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think that could be another topic. Like, nostalgia is a killer, man. Especially with Star Wars and shit like that and all that crap, man. People want to see the same thing again. But yeah, man. Anything else you got to say, Mr. Ross, before we wrap up and get something to eat?
I think we've about covered it as a decent general little chat.
Yeah, just a general chat about anime, because we like anime, man. Also,
it's
we
like one of my Japanese anime.
Exactly. Manga. Don't read that much manga, but I do like some manga. But
I have some, but not a lot.
I mean, I don't know if we can really do a podcast on that, because we don't read or have much of a history with manga. I do own some, but yeah. I mean, like, there's probably things we're missing out on, like obviously Ghost in the Shell. Those were a big one, Ninja Scroll, but we can talk about that in another one, man. Like, our
most impactful anime, maybe,
man,
rather than best.
Yeah,
or favorite.
Because I don't think Ghost in the Shell would be in my top 10. It wouldn't be in there, even though I like it. But it's more for its cultural and impact it has on cinema, because a lot of people have taken influences from Ghost in the Shell, obviously The Matrix and stuff. But yeah, man. Well, Mr. Ross, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Always.
Is it really?
No, it's a pain in the ass, man. It's a real struggle. I'm like, I've got to talk to Mr. Ross for an hour and a half. Jesus Christ!
Why do I do a podcast with this guy?
for the bands, Mr. Ross, for the bands. But yeah, like what we got coming up on the channel, we're still doing the Resident Evil 5 Let's Co-op. We plan to do maybe like I said, a Mass Effect quiz, and I don't know, like, anything else you got lined up for the channel?
If you've checked, I put up a video of the first hour of Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker.
It's still processing the HD
version. Still processing the HD version like 2 days later. But when it finally finishes, it will be a 4K 60 video. So I might do a bit more FF14 stuff, because it's not something we've really done anything of on the channel. We've done one video of it before in our what was it, our 30th anniversary Final Fantasy series we did. But I play it a lot. As if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see. So I might do a couple more videos here and there, but I'm fairly casual at it. So if I put up videos where I'm just playing casually, people might tell me I'm bad. So maybe I won't. I don't know. But
you never know. You never know until you try, Mr. Ross.
But yeah, maybe I might do some more videos of that, because it's the new expansion and I'm excited about it.
Cool.
And yeah, beyond that, not quite sure at the moment. Some stuff, I guess. I do want to do more VR stuff, but the frigging Oculus Store never has a sale. There's a bundle of games on the Oculus Store that I really want to play, but they never have a sale, so it's really annoying.
It's annoying, man. But we'll discuss it when we meet up in person. But yeah, like, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Game with Chums. We also do Twitch, which I finished Mass Effect 2. So please, like, I might do another game, maybe another BioWare game. I'm thinking Dragon Age 1 or 2. Might do a whole stream of full play of that. But we're also on Twitter. We have our own Twitter. All the details will be in the video. But yeah, thanks again, guys, for listening. We will have another podcast up the following week, because it's Christmas, so we want to do that one. Yeah, that'll be a Christmassy themed podcast, I think. Where
wear a hat and everything.
I have Santa's hat, so maybe we'll wear that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please listen to our audio version on Spotify, Google Music, and Amazon Music as well.
Whatever it's called.
Whatever it's called. But yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.